Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into something, well, pretty universal. Stress, overthinking, that whole tangle.
Yeah, and we've got some really interesting material here. Ancient Stoic ideas meeting modern psychology.
Exactly. And what struck me looking through it is how they both circle back to this core idea about our beliefs, our perceptions.
Absolutely. Like Epictetus put it, it's not the thing itself, but our view of the thing that causes the trouble. That really sets the stage.
It really does. So our goal today is, to pull out the practical bits. What can you actually use from this to maybe break free from that worry cycle? Find a bit more calm.
Let's get into it. That first point about the vicious cycle really jumps out, how negative beliefs can sort of trap you.
Right, like you believe something bad will happen, so you act in a way that, well, almost makes it happen.
Exactly. It's that self-fulfilling prophecy idea. Your belief influences your behavior, which shapes the outcome, which then seems to confirm the original belief. It's a tough loop.
And constantly playing out worst-case scenarios in your head, blaming yourself before anything's even occurred.
Oh, absolutely. That mental reversal of misery, it connects right back to Epictetus. The distress often comes from our anticipation and judgment, not the event itself.
It reminds me of those learned helplessness studies you see mentioned, the dog experiments.
Siegelman's work, yeah. Quite stark. When the dogs couldn't escape the shocks, they eventually just stopped trying.
Even when escape became possible later on.
Precisely. And you can see a parallel, can't you? Chronic stress, that constant rumination, it can lead us to feel helpless too. We stop looking for solutions, even if they're there.
And that constant mental load, it really takes a toll. I saw the term anhedonia in the notes.
Yeah, the loss of ability to feel pleasure. What's fascinating is that figures like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca were writing about this centuries ago.
So it's not just a modern psychological concept.
Not at all. They saw it as a serious consequence of that kind of mental strain. Your capacity for joy just gets eroded. So, okay, what helps? The sources suggest some concrete things. Journaling, for instance.
Right, the idea of writing for, 15, 30 minutes a day for a few days?
Yeah, about something stressful. But the key is describing it factually, almost like a reporter. Not judging, just observing.
Trying to get some distance, understand it better without stirring up all the emotion again.
Exactly. It fosters understanding, a bit of calm. And then there are those Stoic questions. I found those really useful.
Me too. Simple but powerful, like asking yourself, is this really worth this much stress?
Or, isn't dealing with difficult people just part of life unavoidable? It shifts your perspective.
Acceptance of what you can't control. And that other one, if this is my last day, what would matter?
That's a big one for cutting through the noise, right? Puts daily anxieties into a different light. Then there's the worst-case scenario technique.
Yeah. Consciously thinking through the absolute worst outcome. Sounds counterintuitive, maybe.
A little, but the idea is that facing it directly often makes it less terrifying. You realize you could probably handle it, or that it's unlikely anyway. It reduces the fear of the fear.
And usually that worst case doesn't actually happen.
Very rarely. Which ties into clarifying fears too. The brain hates ambiguity, the unknown.
So writing fears down, making them specific.
Yes, and even sketching out a basic plan. If X happens, I could try Y or Z. It makes the fear less amorphous, less overwhelming.
Takes away some of its power. And also, just tackling those tasks that are always buzzing in the back of your mind.
Definitely. Those unresolved things drain mental energy. Dealing with them breaks that low-level stress cycle.
Yeah.
And finally, that core Stoic idea. Focus on what's actually in your control.
Epictetus again, right? The dichotomy of control.
Precisely. Put your energy where it makes a difference, your actions, your judgments. Trying to control things you can't influence just leads to frustration, helplessness even.
So wrapping up, it seems the big takeaway is about awareness. Understanding how your beliefs drive your reactions, and then using these kinds of mental tools. Journaling, questioning, planning to regain a sense of agency.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating that control where you have it. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider. Look at your current worries. Which ones fall into that circle of things you can actually influence?
And which might be better met with, acceptance or a shift in perspective.
Exactly. What might change for you if you really focus your energy just on that sphere of influence? Something to think about.